Hello, my name is Masha. I'm a coffee educator based in Los Angeles. I work for Counterculture Coffee and I do account management and sales. I'm also involved in Brewers Cup competition as a judge. Today, I'm excited to brew this beautiful coffee for you. It's a natural pink bourbon from Luis Anibal from Colombia, and my friend Juan from Nowhere Coffee helped to source this beautiful coffee. I will be brewing this coffee as a flash brew today because it's getting hot in Los Angeles. Summer is almost started, and I love flash brews, and especially I love natural semi coffees brewed as a flash brew because I think they taste really juicy and they remind me of natural wine. I'll be brewing with V60 today. I use V60 every day to brew my coffee at home. It is classic, it's really easy to use, it's really easy to brew consistent cup every day with this brewing device. You can also brew as little as you want and bigger servings as well. So I'll be using a pretty classic ratio today, 1:16, pretty classic recipe, but we will be adjusting it for making it as a flash brew. Flash brew is also known as Japanese iced coffee or iced pour over. I like flash brews because we are brewing coffee the same way as we brew in a hot pour over, so extraction happens pretty much in the same way. But what we're going to do differently is that we will replace third part of the water with ice. So my recipe today is 25 grams of coffee to 400 milliliters of water in the end. So I'm going to be taking third part of the water and replacing it with ice. I have 135 grams of ice measured in this caraffe, and I'll be adding it in the end. I'll explain why later. My water will be 265 milliliters. Because I'm brewing with less water, I will be grinding my coffee slightly finer than I usually grind for V60. I would say maybe one setting finer. If you're making your flash brew with Kalita Wave or any other brewing device, you can go one setting finer than your regular hot pour over recipe. Why is that? Because we want to have the same contact time between coffee and water. We don't want our water to go through coffee too fast and under-extract our coffee. All right, let's start. My first pour will be 50 milliliters of water for bloom, and I'll bloom for 30 seconds. For my bloom, I like to add my water in a zigzag motion because it helps me to distribute water more evenly and make sure that I cover all the dry coffee grounds without leaving any areas dry. I'm also better with straight lines rather than circles. After the bloom, after 30 seconds of bloom, I'll be doing 3 more pours, 70 grams each. There's slightly less water on each pour because our final amount of water is only 265 milliliters. I'm also going to be pouring in a slightly slower speed. My rate of pouring is about 7 grams per second. I'm pouring slightly slower again for extending contact time between water and coffee, just because we're using less water. I have one more pour left. Perfect. I also like using V60 because I think it helps to bring out a good acidity in coffee as well as sweetness. So in the end, we have a really nice balanced cup. I personally appreciate acidity in coffee. Perfect. My brew time right now is 2.5 minutes, which is awesome because we were using less water, but brew time is not super fast because I was pouring in a slightly slower speed than usually. Great. Now I'll be pouring this coffee into my ice.
So how come you pour it into the ice rather than brewing it on top of the ice?
Yes, so at Conoculture Coffee we did some experiments pouring, brewing flash brew over ice and adding ice in the end, and we found that adding ice in the end this coffee was tasting much better, kind of more pronounced flavors. It has something to do with volatile aromas, which if we pour hot coffee over ice, those aromas are going to be locked in, but not all of them are positive, so we want them to evaporate. And if we just pour over kind of like in a normal way, just a hot pour over and add coffee, add ice later, then we let those aromas, negative volatile aromas, to evaporate. And now I'm just mixing it so my coffee cools down and we're ready to taste it. I also don't like to pour it over a lot of ice because I don't want to dilute my flash brew even more. So I just like to use a little bit ice in my cup. It's really juicy. I really like how it turned out. It's really juicy. It also has a lot of berry-forward flavors. It reminds me of light red natural wine, like a chilled natural wine. I personally love natural center coffees. I think this pink bourbon is very fruit-forward and it's also pretty delicate as well. And I think also brewing this coffee on a flash brew helps to bring out this kind of like juicy and fruit-forward notes. Cheers. The aftertaste is really long.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow. It's so juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Super juicy.
It's a perfect summer drink, right?
Mm. It's literally like a nice chilled like orange wine.
Mm-hmm.
Really juicy, super sweet.
It's really good. I'm like really happy with it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do get like a kind of like a nice floral note at the end. I don't know if it's like, I wouldn't say it's vanilla, but it's kind of sweet and floral.
I would say maybe orange blossom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the aftertaste is just really long and like floral. That kind of reminds me of the berry blossom as well. You know, like the strawberry blossom. Mm-hmm.
And then, what's the water temperature you used today?
I did 205.
205.
Classic.
205, ladies and gentlemen. 205.
Very classic recipe. 1:16 ratio, 205 water.